Hi, I'm Josh Race, a brain-based coach trained at the Neuroleadership Institute and also a PQ coach trained at Positive Intelligence. And I'm going to take you through this comprehensive guide to wellness at work created by Positive Intelligence. The goals of the Positive Intelligence programs are to strengthen your emotional intelligence, to build your mental acuity and resilience around emotional triggers, whether they be in your workplace or in your personal life. The research done by Positive Intelligence shows that people want to focus on one of three outcomes primarily when it comes to improving themselves. One is improving their performance at work, two is improving their personal relationships, or three, improving their personal well-being. This guide addresses all of these and provides a few sample plans for addressing these under the umbrella of wellness at work. To begin, there's a great quote here by Shirzad Chamine. He says, "We are living in a profoundly challenging time. It's understandable that people are disoriented and anxious. So we need to normalize that. We need to just really acknowledge the fact that we're all experiencing too much change for the typical human being to be able to handle. And the reason that we need to invest in mental fitness is that it massively increases our capacity to handle change in a way that's not stressful, but joyful." Here's the table of contents. As you can see, this booklet is over 40 pages long. So my goal for this video is to take you through the material and summarize it so that you can get the essential message in about 10 minutes. I do want to tell you in a nutshell how Positive Intelligence operates so you can keep this in mind as you go through the content. The program begins with an exploration of how we treat ourselves and each other based on the character of the thoughts in our minds. We generally listen to and believe our own thoughts without always distinguishing whether or not they're true. PQ teaches a framework to become aware of the negative and positive thinking through short mental muscle building exercises that are grounded in the experience of your senses in your body, rather than in your thoughts. And the framework also gives us the opportunity to exercise our positive thinking with very specific approaches, which are referred to as the SAGE perspective. So diving into the content, Chapter 1, this page describes how the investment in wellness programs rose during the pandemic, but even with that, the numbers aren't very inspiring in the grand scheme of things. Here we have data that is explicitly stating how workers are reaching out for help. Their burnout and depression is a real factor that's at play in companies. And having a mental well-being program at your company aligns with the recruitment initiatives because so many people care about getting this kind of support. Just touting the benefits of a wellness initiative, there's 3-to-1 return on investment on productivity gains and improved employee satisfaction. And there's a link here to a rather long McKinsey article describing the importance of resilience in your workforce. It talks about rapidly adapting to changes, reassessing strategies, and abandoning ineffective practices. To me, this describes strengthening the courage of your people to face uncertainty, whether it's they're facing concurrent disruptions, economic downturns, resource shortages, or just workflow issues in general. A resilient organization will be more agile, able to quickly make well-informed decisions. It encourages strategic innovation, cultivates adaptable leaders, and invests in talent and culture. McKinsey research suggests that companies with resilient behaviors demonstrate superior financial performance because people see disruptions not as setbacks, but as opportunities for enhancement. And here, this page talks about the price of disengagement. It says, even if you do invest in a wellness program, your program might suffer from a lack of engagement, and that collective buy-in on mental fitness changes the nature of a wellness program from something that is another to-do list item to something that really inspires passion. The PQ program is the spark that makes all wellness initiatives spring to life. Chapter 2, Understanding Mental Fitness. Here we start talking specifically about the PQ program. To begin, there's scientific research done by PQ, and there's a link to the white paper here on the neuroscience of positive intelligence. The key word here is inspiration, inspired by science, because the science confirms our suspicion that people with a positive mindset are more successful. Surprise, surprise. And by the way, there's another white paper that is specifically about emotional intelligence for team performance, which I can also give you. On this page, there's a very simplified graphic that illustrates how we are either listening to the language of our saboteurs, or we can choose to listen to the language of a positive mindset, which PQ calls the sage powers. And this is in our thrive region in our brains. What's interesting here is that PQ, the coaching model, teaches us to be aware of saboteur voices in our minds and teaches us to use the sage voice with very specific exercises, which is great because it works. But it's reassuring to see that the research points to distinctly different regions in your brain being activated when switching from saboteur to sage mindset. And up on the right, when we run the PQ operating system in our minds, we reduce stress, improve resilience, boost productivity, have better working relationships. And of course, HR can make all of this happen with a solid well-being program. Here we have information on the saboteur assessment. The assessment gives you knowledge about the nature of your personal saboteurs. There is a primary saboteur called the judge and 9 accomplice saboteurs that are named the pleaser, avoider, controller, hyperachiever, hyperrational, hypervigilant, victim, stickler, and restless. Here the sage powers are presented: explore, empathize, navigate, innovate, and activate. Each of these embody a mental approach to discovering a way through negative thoughts and emotions leading into a positive frame of mind and the positive behaviors that ensue. I'll also call out that if you participate in one-on-one coaching sessions, we touch on these in a specific sequence to generate self-empathy, feel the wisdom of distance from your challenges, and discover new possibilities. There's usually some unexpected insight that makes these sessions particularly satisfying. Chapter 3, Improving Wellness with Mental Fitness. This chapter begins by suggesting that your existing wellness programs can be supported by mental fitness. And when you do, you see there are multiple categories of wellness programs here, and each one has got specific sage powers that are mapped to them. So for example, professional wellness program, it mentions that the explore power encourages curiosity and growth mindset. The empathize power fosters better understanding and connection with colleagues. And the innovate power cultivates creative problem solving. And I can tell you from personal experience, these powers are not just bullet points and a list of inspiring keywords. They are specific practices that are taught for each of these. And the outcomes are not just an intellectual understanding, but are truly heartfelt skills, and therefore make this whole program very engaging. This page has a video embedded on it, which I encourage you to watch because it quickly describes the initial 8-week program, which is called the Foundations program. It is app-based, and it also includes group pod discussions, and the video will describe how that works. In Chapter 4, there are a few ways that PQ can be implemented at your organization. On the left-hand side here, it describes the PQ-powered Teams program, which starts with the 7-week Foundations program, followed by modules named Mutual Accountability, Healthy Conflict, Triple Purpose, and Earn Trust, followed by workshops that are oriented to your team's specific needs. On the right is an alternative program with a more individual approach with a focus on reducing stress and building mental muscle. This also begins with the 7-week Foundations program and then goes deep into a series on personal well-being modules with emotional intelligence practices. Here the story returns to the importance of using PQ as a foundation for all your wellness programs. And on this page, it gets into the nitty-gritty specifics for how PQ fits into a variety of wellness plans and approaches. Again, just calling out professional wellness here, where there's a few additional PQ modules mentioned around sales, diversity, equity, inclusion, and developing leadership potential. There are more wellness plan considerations here. And on the bottom right, it suggests auditing the state of wellness at your organization. This page provides a simple assessment to run this audit for yourself. And then depending on which areas that score the weakest, there are suggested PQ program roadmaps specifically for addressing those needs. Hopefully this is helpful for you to map out a clear story for you to share with others about what you're already making progress with and how the PQ program will empower employees to take advantage of those programs at your organization and really engage with them. Chapter 5 shares a mental fitness case study from a Fortune 100 company. The challenge was that the leadership team had made well-being programs available in the past, but didn't have great engagement. They knew the programs could work better if they took on a more science-based approach that could break down the stigma around mental wellness. They launched a combination of inspiring messaging, had a keynote speech by PQ CEO Shirzad Shamin, and some tailored incentives with the goal of getting 800 participants involved, and they were pleasantly surprised by enrolling 5,500 participants. One thing I should mention here is that when a program runs for your organization, PQ also makes the initial Foundations program available for free to your family members. So they can also use the app and do the program as well. Of course, this contributes to a higher participation rate, and it makes it easier for employees to speak about their experience with their loved ones at home. The outcome from the year-long program was a 93% of people managing stress better, 97% strengthening their emotional intelligence, 70% reported they felt more energized at work, and nearly 70% said their work relationships improved. Maybe a question for you would be, what would a 70% improvement in work relationships make possible for your company? Higher engagement, more resilience, increased innovation, these make real tangible differences to the bottom line. This is the conclusion of the Wellness Guide. I'd like to wrap up with a few thoughts myself. I found this program to be extraordinarily helpful because it uses quick mental and physical check-ins with yourself that keep you at the top of your game. The Foundation program runs a 1-hour video each week and uses the PQ app for short check-ins, which are called PQ reps, like reps at the gym, which are no more than 3 minutes, a total of 15 minutes a day. The efficiency of the program is literally measurable. It's all possible because the modality takes your negative thinking out of the picture so that real important work gets done. So thanks for checking out the program, and I look forward to hearing from you.